Tonight, whether it's medicinal or recreational, cannabis has to be treated with care.
That's right. And 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears exposes what could crop up and what's being done to test for tainted THC.
Cannabis users are consuming marijuana in food, drinks, lotions, vapes, and smokes, with new products on the market all the time. Before pot was legal, drug dealers didn't care much about product safety, but now state leaders have a mission to ensure what you're buying from the dispensary shelf is safe.
This is a GC mass spec triple quad.
A high-tech term of the science trade you might not associate with marijuana.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
Yes, it is very fancy. This instrument costs around $400,000.
Wow.
Digipath Labs tests anything and everything cannabis.
Looks like these are all concentrates. Here's some beverages.
To make sure weed in all its forms is safe.
Safe from pesticide contamination, safe from heavy metal contamination, safe from microbial contamination.
In February, one of Denver's largest dispensaries recalled pre-rolled joints after the state investigated an illness complaint. It found the product in question contained potentially unsafe levels of yeast and mold. Colorado is also looking at pesticides in pot.
Well, pesticides, you don't want to be breathing them in, and most cannabis products, are inhaled.
Todd Denkin is founder and CEO of Digipath Labs here in Las Vegas. There are about 10 such labs in the state. He says pesticides are rarely a problem in Nevada.
The biggest problem that we see is really from a microbial standpoint, so those are the most fails.
Mold is of particular concern for medical marijuana users.
They really don't want any mold or any yeast or any aspergillus or any kind of microbial in there that could make them even sicker.
When they're testing for mold, they use little plates like this. The first one shows you a clean sample. Then you start to see those blue dots come up showing contamination. This one here is a clear fail. Way too much mold to be acceptable.
And that comes from somebody in a grow who is doing something not so clean.
Following state standards, Digipath tests for 24 different pesticides, plus E. coli and salmonella.
Plants are loaded with bacteria,
as well as molds and heavy metals, including cadmium, lead, mercury, and arsenic. But Chief Science Officer Dr. Cindy Orser says there are two ways our state falls short in protecting consumers.
But we absolutely know it's toxic, so we should be testing for it.
She's talking about chromium, which can get into pot products produced using stainless steel equipment.
There can be sloughing from stainless steel, and we in fact are starting to see some chromium and nickel. So I would hope that the state would add those two heavy metals to the list.
She also says solvents are sometimes used, and Nevada doesn't test for enough of those either.
Right now we only are required to check for 4 solvents. Like California has probably 16 on their list.
Digipath also tests for potency.
Well, I can tell you that what we say is in there is actually in there.
But in that way, it's not always right when it comes to the dispensary. Dr. Orser says they tested product in one case where labels were already printed, only to find that what the cultivator claimed was not what the testing showed. More recently,
we had an incident the other day where somebody expected something to be X and it wasn't, and we found out that they were just estimating.
Todd says his staff has done some secret shopping, and in a few cases, they found product isn't what it's purported to be. The state's Marijuana Enforcement Division, run by the Department of Taxation, did 565 inspections in 2017 and investigates roughly 170 complaints a year. They're still working on a case management system to track corrective actions, but feel confident they're protecting the consumer so far. Consumers who have a complaint are encouraged to report it to the Marijuana Enforcement Division. We have a link to the complaint form on our website at ktnv.com. Darcy Spears, 13 Action News.